You've seen the Iowa's defensive front similar to what they've had in the past that you guys had to deal with.
They're very good, physical, hard-playing team. I think they're a team that you always look at. They're very technically sound. They're always going to play to the whistle. I think it's just a classic look at the Iowa front. They're a really sound unit and they don't make mistakes. And I think the biggest thing is that they do their job and they do it very well. So it'll be an exciting game and really one that's very physical at the line of scrimmage.
Tanner, talking about last week, especially early on, it seemed like some of the snaps were high off target. Do you have any conversations with your quarterback after some of those plays, kind of him telling you or you telling him kind of to calm things down?
Yeah, I think in the middle of the drive it's always a little tougher to kind of communicate that when there's so much going on. But getting off the field, he kind of made me aware of what was going on. And obviously something that can't happen. Being the center, it's my job to get Tanner the ball every time, consistently. They can't be high. And if I do that, it makes his job harder. But shout out to him for being able to work off that and, make me look good, even though I'm not doing as well as I would like. But, just something I got to keep working on. Just every week, just focusing on making sure the snaps are good and getting back there. And, just got to keep going.
Do you know when you snap a bad one? Are you not aware of it?
Not until after the drive, usually. You just kind of, if we're rolling, we're going tempo. We don't really have a whole ton of time to go back and talk about what happened. Coming off the field, that's kind of when I'm made aware of what happened, and obviously it's not what I want, and not what's best for the team. But just got to keep working, focusing on those details and make sure it doesn't happen again.
It's funny if you cover basketball and talk to basketball players, they'll talk about being able to shoot free throws like perfect in practice, but then maybe they'll struggle in the game. Is there any similarity there? Because your head coach said the other day, he goes, it's a little bit different snapping in practice than it is in front of 70,000 people, conditions, worried about nose tackle on your nose. Can you replicate that in practice?
I think it's just when you're in the game, there's a lot of other moving pieces where, you're focused on making sure everyone's on the same page, making sure, their safeties are rotating down, where we all communicated, all going to the right personnel unit. And, you're not always focused on the snap, whereas in practice, it's a lot easier just to be like, all right, just got to make sure it's a good snap on this one. So I think, just all those other moving pieces in the game kind of factor in. But, still you have to get it done, and this is unacceptable, but I'll keep going.
If you know you have a game where the snaps aren't on the mark, what's that like for you after a game, even if the team wins?
It's always better with the win, and know you can come back and work on it. But it's frustrating because you don't want to be that guy that you look at the game if you did lose and say, I could have done that a lot better. And I think that's the biggest thing is that, we got a lot of big games coming up, and if we want to win, we can't have any mistakes. And those are mistakes that we can't have. So, just really emphasizing getting extra ones after practice, staying out late, getting there early, and just really getting all the reps I can is big this week. And I feel confident just, doing it during the game.
We're just doing a feature on the Michigan State Northwestern, how they're going through interim head coaches for the majority of the season, like you and Nebraska had to do last year. Just wonder, what was the biggest challenge for y'all just in terms of staying motivated throughout the season, dealing with that initial shock, and then just getting through the grind of the season under those circumstances?
I think the biggest thing is, you got to stay focused that even though you have a completely new coach, the goals and your job still remain the same. And I think it's something we learned a lot last year is, Coach Chris, was fired, and you get a new coach, but your goals as a team are still the same. So it's going to be different. Who you're going to be doing it with is different, but your goals and objective as a team are still the same. And so that's kind of the emphasis, I would say. And, it takes a couple of weeks to get used to kind of the new way things go. But I would say the more you go on, the more used to it you get.
Do you think the velocity of those snaps have been somewhat of a concern, or you kind of find in that area?
What do you mean?
Velocity of getting the ball, getting the ball to the quarterback, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I think, the bye week is just something that you kind of wanted to work on, getting a little more speed on it. So, maybe that's just another factor, as to why. But, like I said, just making sure it's in a good spot for Tanner where he can make a play is the most important part.
Coach Bicknell, is there any advice? It's tough. It's one of those things that you kind of just have to do. Does he have any advice?
Just focus on getting out of my hand as fast as possible. I think that's been his big emphasis point, just snapping it back there. Kind of the longer you hang on to it, the more you can fluctuate around, the more you're moving different directions on different plays. So just fire it out, quickly, get it out of your hand as fast as possible. That way it's a little more consistent.
The snapping might take away from your actual blocking performance this year. How have you evaluated how you've done both in the run against the pass this year?
It's frustrating because, I felt like last game I did a pretty solid job blocking, so then you come off feeling like, well, the snap sucks. So then it's like, well, that sucks because I feel like I played pretty well other than that. But it's just kind of something you have to do well all the time. It's just if you miss a block and have a great snap, it doesn't matter. You got to do all of them at the same time.
Is there any moral high note, understanding that you felt like you had a good game blocking, even though there was some concerns snapping?
I mean, yeah, and I think the biggest thing is that the team wins, and that's the biggest focus point every week. Regardless of how I play, I'd rather play terrible and the team win than me play great and the team lose, and I think that's just kind of the way it is. But it's just something you got to learn from every week. You got to watch the film, see what you could do better, and to go from there.
You're going to sing too?
I don't think so. Rico's a little more musical than I am.
You do have 2 touchdowns on Aaron snaps going to the.
Hey, I think it might throw him off as much as it throws Tanner off, But just again, Tanner makes a hell of a play. Looking back, you don't even realize how high it was till after the game. I'm watching film, wow, it's a good thing I have an athletic quarterback. But again, just got to keep working on it, and something that'll keep improving.
Yesterday, Coach Fickle, he talked about how potentially Jake Renfro might enter the rotation again. With you having to move positions from guard to center or center to guard, does that kind of do you feel like you need extra reps at guard prior to coming into the game and things like that, or do you feel like you're ready already?
I feel maybe somewhat. But again, center, you're working both directions constantly, so it gives you that feeling of guard where you got to be able to pass that left, pass that right, run block left and right. So guards, I think it's just kind of getting used to it again. Maybe 1 or 2 days, but I feel very confident that I'd be able to quickly transition to that.
And what have you seen from Jake in practice the last few weeks as he's gotten
back?
back?
It's exciting to kind of have him back. He's doing well, and it's a guy you're rooting for because he's just been battling through so much. So I'm excited to see him back out there. He's making great strides, and every day you see him improve and get better and better overall. So I'm excited for him to return, and I think he has a chance to be a great player.
One more for you. This state is really good at producing offensive linemen, way more than it produces defensive linemen. Did you consider playing D-line out of high school at all? Or?
I mean, a little bit. I think I had a couple of places that wanted me to play either or. And defense is fun, but I think, just it ended up being Wisconsin just fit me best, and they wanted me to play all line. And, I love the people here and, love the position. So.
Is there a glamour, do you think, more so with offensive linemen in this state? Because there's been a lot of good ones. I'm curious.
I think a little more maybe than other schools probably because offensive line is kind of a loveless job. You do great, nobody really cares. Do bad, everybody hates you. So I mean, it's just kind of like I think in Wisconsin just got that great tradition of great offensive linemen, and I'm just glad to be a part of that, and just got to keep working to be the best.
Who wants you to play defensive line?
North Dakota State gave me the option to, Illinois State as well. And I mean, there's some smaller schools, but I think it's just kind of cool. I could have played a little defense, and just playing both ways in high school is a little different. But definitely think I'm probably better at offensive than I would have been at defense.
Nose tackle or end, or what do you think?
Probably nose tackle. But definitely prefer the offensive line a little more.